let me share this out first. Um, yeah, sorry I'm late. I ended up leaving work a little later than usual, which meant I ended up missing my normal bus, and I had to just like cook food and then use like use the bathroom like really badly. So yeah, we're starting a little late. But all good. Oh, it's good, Josiah. Just immediately jump in the chat. Bet. How you doing, bro? What are we talking tonight? Comics, man. Comics. As always. As always. Um, let me, alright. Cool, cool. But yeah, sorry about, like, starting the show so late. Um, but yeah, man. Let's, Spoparino, some Dunkachinos. I got, like, I got, like, a shout out today. On Previous World. That was pretty fun. Shout out to Troy. I guess like not counter shout out, but like I don't know, like shout back out to Troy at Previous World for shouting me out. So that was pretty cool. Um, Dude, this whole like, it's so funny, you know. Um, all this shit with like Joker being pregnant and how everyone's freaking out about it. It just, I don't know, man. It's kind of silly to me. Um, but I also think it signifies something really good and something really positive about comics. That a lot of the outrage channels that are like still kind of working off of the outrage reaction model. Um, they're just grasping at straws at this point. Like, if your biggest like clickbait news story for the week is whatever bullshit came out of a backup story in a title that not many people are reading, well then yeah, I think comics are doing pretty good then. Oh, what's good, Supreme? How you doing, bro? Thanks for subscribing, by the way. I caught that got that notification earlier in the week. Thanks, bro. Um, but yeah, no, man, it's just it's funny right now. Like I think like what was it, like 2015, um when we kind of entered the outrage era on comic book YouTube and comic book social media, the woke era as it was. um a lot of that just kind of came out of the fact that like most of those books were just not good, not for like any particular like political reason or anything, just a lot of them weren't good. um and every decade has not good comics. Like people simp for the 80s, and I'm one of those. I think the 80s is like that's like a really good decade for comics. But there were some shitty comics that came out in the 80s too. You know, there's shitty comics that come out in every decade, um, in every era, and it's just hilarious. You know, like looking back on the SJW era and like the reaction to the SJW era, and then the reaction to the reaction, like all that's kind of dying down now because comics are getting really good right now. And I don't know, it's just kind of great seeing the death throes of like outrage culture in comics. It's great. I love it. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Oh man, comics are like at an all-time high right now. It's this is how I win. This is how we win. This is how you win. Gentlemen, this is the future. In hindsight, I feel like people may have overreacted to the Hydra Cap thing. A little bit. A slight overreaction. The best part was the people freaking out were clearly people who don't read comic books. Like, oh no, the Captain America is a Nazi over here, but there's also there's this B story throughout the entire series where Captain America, the real Captain America, is stuck in some mystical plane of existence, and he has to find his way out. You'd see this if you read the book. Just like all the shit with like the Joker, not Killer Smile. That was a Jeff Lemire book. It was pretty alright, I thought. Definitely the art was a highlight of that book. But what is it? Men Who Stop Laughing. Like, if the main thing that people are complaining about is a backup story, which they clearly didn't read. And Troy said this in Previews World today, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know, I am going to be showing up on Previews World Roundtable this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I guess is 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 3 p.m. Pacific Time? Do they? Is it Pacific Standard Time or just Pacific Time? I don't know. Do I put the S there or I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, 5 p.m. EST. I'm gonna be doing a roundtable with Previews World regarding the future of the DC movies, which that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting conversation. Given what I know of Troy's stance on comic book movies right now, as well as my current stance on comic book movies right now. But what was I saying before this? So Troy from Previews World brought up this really interesting point, that a lot of the people who are freaking out about like Joker outrage regarding the whole like pregnancy thing, they're talking out of their ass. Like they're talking about it like DC published a story like about Heath Ledger's Joker from the movies. Like Heath Ledger's Joker is pregnant and trans or something, and it's like, guys, you don't. Oh God, you clearly have no context for what comic books are. Oh, all right. And dude, it's just funny. Like, a lot of people in the mainstream, they have no concept for comic books. And this is what I said about like the whole Hydra Cap thing. Like, a lot of the people who are freaking out, they either have no concept for comic books or they're grifting. Those are the only two options there. That's about it. So, I don't know. Case in point, comics are great right now, and yeah, man, feels good. Feels really good. Supreme says, on my Batman reading list, I've been reading the 2001 Orpheus Rising miniseries, the debut of the hero Orpheus, aka Gavin King. He deserves more love. It's a shame that the miniseries is out of print. Let me see. Let me see something. Orpheus Rising. I'm trying to remember who that character was. Because I don't... Let's see, Orpheus. I'm looking at this dude. I don't remember who this is at all. This must have been like a very short-lived character. Oh, first appearance 2001, last appearance 2004. Okay, so this is like a blind spot for me when it comes to Batman comics. Um, there's just a lot in that era that I did not read, and haven't read because it's just not. I'm not a fan of it. So this is just a whole character I have no context for whatsoever. Would you recommend it though? I'll definitely like try to check it out. Oh, but you said the miniseries is out of print. Well, there's probably like comics that he appears in that are in graphic novels that are in print. Let's see, Gavin King. Okay, I should probably say Gavin King DC Comics. I really like the Comic Vine website. They do a really good job of itemizing the comics that these characters kind of appear in. Let's see. He doesn't have that many appearances, really. Like he's in that Orpheus Rising book. He has 4 appearances in Detective Comics, 3 appearances in Batman Family, which that was a very short-lived book series, I think. It was like 8 issues. 2 appearances in Legend of the Dark Knight, 2 appearances in Nightwing, 2 appearances in War Games. Oh, is he like a War Games era character? Okay, well, yeah. Only 1 appearance in the main Batman title. He shows up in Batgirl? What? Oh, issue 56. Alright. I don't think I read that far into Batgirl. He's in Gotham Knights for 1 appearance. And he also makes an appearance in Bruce Wayne Murder Fugitive. Very short-lived character. But if you say it's cool, I'll like try to check out some of the stuff that he's in. Because all those books are definitely in print. And a lot of stuff that's in there is definitely in print. What's up, John Paul? Thanks. Yeah, I'm wearing a different beanie than I normally wear because I'm gonna do my Robin cosplay for Katsucon, which is February 17th through the 19th. And so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm gonna be there all 3 days. Friday, I'm gonna be cosplaying as Aki from Chainsaw Man, which isn't that hard. It's literally just I'm going to take my hair and like put it in a little bun, and just wear a black suit. It's really not that difficult to dress as Aki. But Saturday is the day where I'm going to dress up as Robin. And I kind of want my hair to be like as poofy as possible. That's why I'm actually not going to get my hair done, because when I get my hair done, my hair just kind of it droops. Does a little droop. But when I don't get it done like for a long period of time, like my dreads start to like expand. So I get like this like very floofy hair, and I think that's gonna look really good for my Robin cosplay. But I can't have my hair expand if I wear like a really tight beanie like this guy right here. Even though this is like on brand, but still. Um, I've made some good use out of this beanie though. It actually does look more mystical. In the sense that it's like a dragon that's eating my head or some shit. But yeah. Huh? Does anyone else's phone like just start blinking randomly and you're like, what's happening? The NSA like the wiretap just cut out for a second? Oh well. But as for books that I got this week, which wasn't a lot, not because there aren't good comics coming out this week, just I'm starting a new job, or much rather, I'm leaving my current job and I'm starting a new job, in the coming months. But there's going to be a gap where I'm just not working and I won't be making money, so I really got to be a little frugal in how I spend. Especially given how like there's some trades coming out in the next coming weeks that are a little expensive that I really want and have ordered. So I need my money for those. Namely the Miracle Man trade. Like Marvel's like finally reprinting Miracle Man, so I'm finally gonna get my hands on all those books physically, but just it's like a $100 trade. Yikes. Yeah, let me get into the books that I read this week. First, I forgot to share this on like some of my social media. Oops. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So the first book that I picked up this week, which is a book that's been on my radar since like last year, like late last year, 1 Minute War for the Flash. I talked about how Jeremy Adams is writing the best Flash comic that Flash fans have been asking for since, like, what? Flash Rebirth in, like, 2010? Holy shit, that's been, like, 13 years we've been asking for a Flash book like this. But better late than never, and the opening to Flash War is great. I am a little lost. I don't know who, like, these early 2000s Jim Lee looking ass characters are. Granted, I am somewhat behind on Jeremy Adams' Flash because that's a book that I'm primarily following in trade, and that I don't think you could pick up on. I don't know. Let me open OBS and see like if you can see when I do this. Like right here. Ignore Shazam right here. Just like look at the Jim Lee dudes. Yeah, like I don't know who these aliens are, but there's like I'm like 10 issues behind everyone else, because I'm reading this book in trade primarily. But yeah, no, the start of this is really good. You just kind of have like all the speedsters running through their ordinary day. You have Wally West throwing like a cookout for a lot of their friends. It's kind of fun. You have Donna Troy and Roy Harper hanging out. I still have no idea how the hell Roy Harper came back to life, but I ain't mad. I ain't complaining. I like that Roy's back, and I'm excited to see more of Roy Harper in the the upcoming Joshua Williamson Green Arrow book. So, oh, you know what? I just noticed something. You have Roy Harper sitting right next to Donna. I see you, Jeremy Adams. I see you. I see you. I see you. It's not the superior ship. The superior ship is Donna Troy and God damn it! I almost said Guy Gardner. No, Kyle Rayner. But it's a ship that I understand. I get why people like the idea of Donna and Roy being together. It's a very classic ship. But dude, who's this artist? Hold on a second. Namely because like this is the best Linda Park I've ever seen in my life. Like Jesus Christ. I see why this woman's a mother. Just sorry, I hate to be crass, but it'd be like that. Roger Cruz, you are a man of culture. I appreciate that. I appreciate your existence, and I appreciate your art style. But yeah, this is just great. Like, oh, you even have like the Animal Man's daughter in here because Jeremy Adams is like bringing back old DC characters that DC has largely forgotten about. What's her name again? Fuck, is it like Matilda or some shit? Like, I don't know. I've actually never read Animal Man. I know I really should. Everyone says that's like a really good. It's like one of the underrated Grant Morrison titles from the 90s. So I definitely want to check that book out. But yeah, no, this art's like dynamic. It's beautiful. Here's the introduction to Max Mercury. Like a lot of this is just set up. This is very much like the prelude to 1 Minute War, but it's not doing the painfully annoying thing which comics tend to do nowadays, which is prelude to this book, which is just basically a glorified issue 1. So yeah, this is very much like a prelude to everything going down. You see all the speedsters kind of like just running about their normal lives. You got like Kid Flash bickering with Impulse, and also Jay Garrick at a bar, which I'm confused. Is Joan alive or dead now? Like I thought that she was still alive, but if she's not, I mean, that makes sense. Like, it really makes sense. I mean, Joan and Jay are, at least to my knowledge, DC still running off the whole, like, 1940s superhero, like, Golden Age hero shtick for Jay, so they'd be well into their hundreds by now. And Jay gets a pass because he has, like, weird magic interdimensional superpowers, but Joan is, like, just a regular-ass person. So if she's dead, damn, but, you know, yeah. Oh, and here's the big thing. Here we see Iris West asked Barry to marry her. Again. Because we're still kind of running off this weird, like, New 52 continuity where a lot of the stuff from, is it Manipul? Yeah, like the Francis Manipul era up to now, like the reboot era, it still counts. So Barry and Iris were never married. I don't know how I feel about that. Especially now that we're in the Omniverse where, Omniverse. Where everything from the 1930s to now happened, so I would assume that includes their marriage, but I guess not. But anyways, Jim Lee design looking motherfucker just wrecks Central City and Keystone City, and this is just an action-packed issue. I'm not going to spoil the last page reveal, but this caught my attention. Jeremy Adams, You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Um, I mean, you had both already with the two trades that I got, but with this in particular, had my curiosity, but now you got my attention. I'm digging this, and again, I still have the whole thing with artists changing. Oh, what's good, Adam? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, I still have a whole thing where like I don't like art changes, and I was really liking the artist who was doing Flash before, but this artist is pretty good too. Roger Cruz is again very dynamic. Just like mundane shots like this, it's very kinetic, which I think is important when you're writing a character or and drawing a character. More importantly, like the Flash. So yeah, no, I'm into this. I'm definitely invested. If you like the Flash, I can't recommend this run enough. I mean, I keep talking about it. By the way, what animal is that biting your head? I don't know. It's like a dragon or something. Like a goat dragon. Although goats don't have like sharp teeth, goats have like regular like flat teeth. Although if you've ever been bitten by a goat, they feel like they have sharp teeth. This is like a weird dragon thing. I think I got this hat at like Awesome Con? No, not Awesome Con. I got this at KatsuCon. I got this hat from KatsuCon at like in 2020, like the year before, like the year of the pandemic. That's when I got this hat. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm gonna call it a Florgal Beast. Trademarked, discovered. This is the Florgal Beast hat. Yep. Even has pockets. It's actually no, not pockets. These are this is his navel cavity. Not navel, nasal. I mean, well, because if this is the navel cavity, this is. I don't want to think about that. So yeah, I don't know. Flurgle Beast. I'm sticking with it. Who's my favorite Flash artist? That's a question. Shit, dude. I really like, sorry, ow. It's not on my nose. There's something in my nose? I don't see anything. Ow, that hurts. Alright, so, I don't know. Favorite Flash artist? Scott Collins. Scott Collins is like, yeah. Because that's who I think of whenever I think of the Flash. I mean, are there artists who... Are there artists who have done a lot of, like, really interesting, weird shit with the character since then? Of course. Like Brian Bucciolato. Wait, was he the writer or the artist? Whoever did the New 52 Flash art. I think it was Francis Manapul. So Francis Manapul, I think, is the best Flash artist that we've ever had. But for me personally, Scott Collins is my favorite Flash artist. And a lot of that just comes down to like irrational nostalgia. Because that's the Flash art that I grew up with as a kid. But I also like Michael Turner. Even though I don't think he ever did like I don't think he ever did like a book. But he did do covers during the Wally West era when Jeff Johns was writing. And his covers were amazing. Like magnifical. In fact, when you Google Wally West, okay, well now when you Google Wally West, you just get a bunch of the Rebirth era covers. But for the longest time, if you Googled like Wally West or Wally West Flash, all you'd see were Michael Turner covers, and it was specifically the actually. Let me see if I can find it over here. You know what? I have all my cosplay stuff over there. I'm not moving that shit. I'll find it and throw it in the chat. But for a long time, when you like Googled the Flash, the first thing that would pop up was like Michael Turner's artwork. And it was this cover in particular. It's one where like you have Wally in the foreground, and it's Jay Garrick in the background, and it's another one in the, I think Kid Flash, because I think he stopped. I think Bart stopped being Impulse around this time period and became Kid Flash. Where is it? Oh man, it just got buried under like internet crap. God damn it! All right, let me do Michael Turner Flash cover. But it's a really iconic cover. Man, I can't find it for the life of me. I see slabs of it, but I want the actual like art. Oh, is this was Flash 208? Okay. Flash 208. Michael Turner cover. Okay, here we go. And none of these are oh wait, what am I doing? I'm on. Just go to DC Fandom. Boom. Oh, okay, never mind. I take that back. Okay, there we go. See, DC Fandom. Boom. So like this image right here. Michael Turner, never done an interior for Flash as I am aware, but this cover is like, I don't know. That's ingrained in my mind when I think of like iconic Flash covers. I wish Michael Turner, before he passed away, did the Flash. I think he would have been really good on that book. For a second, I thought that was a Green Domo. Dude, you remember Domo? Oh man, he was like everywhere when I was in high school. Like I remember seeing him on everyone's backpack, and he was in like as like little keychains and shit like that. He was on T-shirts. Like peak Facebook schizo era. Just before we reach peak Tumblr schizo era. Which didn't last very long, but it was definitely the foundation for what would later become Twitter schizo era, which I guess we're still kind of technically in. Supremo Megia, on Jason Todd's death, while I feel he should have stayed dead, I do find the victim blaming with his death a bit problematic, because nobody blames his mom who betrayed him. Thoughts? Well, that's because nobody remembers his mom. A lot of Jason Todd fans, who are specifically Red Hood fans, came into the character through the Under the Red Hood movie, which completely omits all of the stuff with his mom, as well as Joker becoming the Iranian ambassador, which I get. I get wanting to omit that material for your standalone animated movie, but yeah, people forget that the reason why Jason is irrational and brash and is like disobeying Bruce's advice, or like disregarding Bruce's advice when trying to track down his mom, and he like ends up in Iran. That's not because Jason is like the bad son, which is what he's kind of been retconned as, but he's doing this because this is a kid who lost his dad tragically to crime, and this is a kid who never knew his mother, and he's trying to find that familial connection. This is like a 14, 15-year-old kid who wants his mom. Of course he's going to be like I don't get why people blame Jason for the extreme measures he's taking. Like he's a kid who's trying to save his mom, you know? Especially when he finds out that like his mom is involved with the Joker. Like I don't know. But again, just a lot of people don't know that, you know, because the pop culture consensus regarding that character now is that he's the bad son. He was the bad egg, you know. Even though Jason wasn't really that bad. In fact, Jason was a pretty standard Robin. In fact, you know what? I'll take it a step further. The way in which people describe Jason Todd in pop culture is actually more fitting for Dick Grayson than it is Jason Todd. Like, if you really go back and read, like, Silver and Bronze Age Batman comics, like, the disrespectful, like, I'm gonna go off book and go fight these bad guys over here. I'm gonna, like, have a temper tantrum. Like, that's Dick Grayson, not Jason. Oh. Hey, what's good, love?
Oh, I'm good. How you
Me
doing?
good, me good. I'm in a stream. We're joking about how Jason Todd is like actually not a bad Robin that like I know everyone kind of thinks of him as. He was actually a pretty it's actually like a honey bun kind of character. He's like a little cinnamon roll, but I don't know.
Yeah, and he was fucking murdered. Like, they took time to consider whether or not they were going to murder Robin. All of the fans. They're like, we don't like this new Robin. Let's kill this motherfucker. But Jason Todd didn't do nothing. Fucking Dick Grayson was the problem child.
Right? That's what I was saying. That's what I was just saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Tevya?
No, and I absolutely love his appearance in Joker, Man Who Stopped Laughing.
Oh yeah, because you're reading the Pregnant Joker book.
So he's playing the fucking kind of semi-retired, but still in the game, fucking policeman, not so policeman. You know, he's detectiving.
Is that book good?
Like that look on him. Oh, what's that?
Is that book good? Because like I flipped through it for like a video that I did recently, but I didn't like read it.
You should read it.
Okay.
You definitely read it before you do anything.
Okay.
Because it's got some good writing and like some little hints that, little like callbacks to things throughout Joker's history. It's fun. And it's got like jokes and stuff. Like.
Okay.
It's presented in a way that is comical, ironic, and as the intention of the comic, it also produces a feeling of horror.
Horrors?
Entwined with comedy. Hold on, where the fuck is it? Quoted. Wait, let me read the fucking quote so I can be accurate for all viewers out there. Let's see. All jokes are the same way. Here we go. The point is, it's a simple formula. It doesn't matter if you're trying to make people laugh or scare them. So long as you build the anticipation and give the people the unexpected, it will always kill.
Did the Joker say that, or is that like a quote on the book?
It's a quote in the book, but you want spoilers?
I mean, shoot, go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Out that, like, at first, like, as you're reading this, you know, the voiceover definitely sounds like, the Joker, the very first line is, all jokes work the same way. And so that leads you to believe that it is Joker. And then you see, there's a, you actually meet this character first without seeing his face.
Okay.
But you see the Joker as well, and you're like, what? So then our narrator can't possibly be the Joker, but you're wrong! Because there's some crazy clone mirror shit going on, or whatever. There's two Jokers, and it's fascinating.
Oh, two
It's sort of
Jokers?
like a split personality thing. Like, one half of him has been, it's like that episode of Rick and Morty, where, they fucking wash off the toxic belt.
Wait, hold on.
Are able to, like, prosper with their lives.
Wait, so
the
did you ever read that book called Three Jokers?
That prospers with his life goes to LA and tries to rule the fucking world. The Joker that can't move on becomes a fucking homeless man in the streets and buses and Gotham. Scaring teenagers and murdering mothers.
Well, that's pretty Jokerish.
Anyway, I really think you should read it yourself.
Okay, I'll check it out. Is it? Do you know if it's building? Do you know if it's building off of this?
Have I been talking to myself for hours?
No, I mean, you've been like droning on, but I mean, you're good. It's good to hear though, because like I haven't read the book and it sounded like you had a lot of interesting points about it. So it's like definitely on my to read list now. I like hearing what you had to say about it. Hello? Hello? Oh. I think I lost connection there. Actually, her phone probably just died. Because that has happened, like, before. Oh, no. Never mind. Just lost connection. Yeah. I'll call her back and see what she had to say. But I wanted to ask her, like, I'm not sure if you guys are reading the Joker book, but the way she describes it, it sounds like it's building off of the Three Jokers a little bit.
Please leave your message for...
Damn. Shit. Yeah, my room is really bad for taking calls. That's like a sacrifice I've made for living where I live right now. Internet is peak. Phone calls. Should probably call back though. Although I was expecting a phone call from Greg, but I guess he's probably went to sleep or something. Adam says, who's a protagonist, or who as a protagonist do you like more? Barry Allen or Vash the Stampede? What kind of question is that? Vash the Stampede. Obviously. I like my protagonist with a little bit of a personality. But no, I like Barry Allen, especially in some of the Silver Age material. It's very goofy and very silly. But just Barry's kind of a plank of wood. There's just not much going on with that character. Um, although I do feel like if you updated Silver Age Barry Allen, you'd basically probably end up with, I don't want to say a character like Vash the Stampede, but you Barry Allen would definitely be um the image that Vash puts up when he's interacting with people. Like that very kind of aloof, means well but is very clumsy kind of character. He'd definitely be that. But also like know how to like switch between joke mode and like serious superhero mode. Um, but that's me like trying to fix something that um I don't know. I don't want to say fix something that's broken because I don't think Silver Age Flash is broken. It's just not it. Like Barry Allen's just not an interesting character. Um, uh, Adam says it doesn't matter. Supreme. Jason is still not a great written character. Guy's been 20 for 10 years and he has done nothing impressive. Mm, I don't know. I disagree with that. I think Jason in Grant Morrison's run is pretty good. Um, I really like Jason in the Red Hood Lost Years comic. Uh, and I don't know. I think the problem with Jason Todd is that there are so many interesting directions you can go with his character. DC just chooses to go in the directions that are not interesting 90% of the time with his character, which is frustrating. Um, but I like Jason as a Robin, especially under Jim Starlin. But yeah, I don't know. I like Jason. I like Jason as a character. He's pretty cool. Um, although there is a weird thing though, and I debate this with Greg all the time. Um, Jason Todd is. Oh, what's good, HR Goes Vocal. How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. But I get into this debate with my buddy Greg all the time regarding Jason Todd's age. Jason and Tim Drake should be like this in terms of their ages. Like the way I've always kind of read it is that Jason died as a teenager and Tim came along as a teenager, and I think they age drop him. He's like 15 when he becomes Robin, in like what 1990, 1991, because that's like A Lonely Place of Dying. So yeah, no, like Jason and Tim should be around the same age. So it's always kind of weird to me when artists and video game developers and whatnot they make Jason out to be this kind of like hulking, like burly, manly man, and then proceed to like depict Tim Drake as this like nibbishy, like yeah, I'm Tim Drake. I work with computers, yeah. Like, dude, they should be the same height, like around the same, weight, same build and all that. Like Tim and Jason aren't that far off in terms of age. They really aren't. But again, I think that's a perception that comes from the Under the Red Hood movie, because again, the Under the Red Hood movie makes it out that Jason was Robin for like 10 years. Well, he really wasn't. he was Robin. He's the shortest lived. Well, no, the second shortest lived Robin because Stephanie Brown counts as Robin, and she was Robin for like a week. But Jason was Robin in continuity for like a year, maybe, if that. I still find it hilarious how Joker beat character development arcs into Jason Todd and Barbara Gordon by brutally maiming them. That's fucked up. But true. But it's fucked up. But no, I agree. I definitely think Barbara and Jason became more interesting characters after Killing Joke and Death in the Family, respectively. And just major props to John Ostrander and Carl Kessel for reintroducing Barbara Gordon in Suicide Squad. I always keep forgetting that's where Barbara first shows up post-Crisis. That's where they cement the fact that Killing Joke is in continuity. Which doesn't make sense. I mean, not really. Because Killing Joke is... That was supposed to be, for Batman, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow was for Superman. I mean, they're both written by Alan Moore, so it's a big clue there. But also just Killing Joke is supposed to be like a finale, like a bittersweet finale to pre-Crisis Batman. But I guess that was part of the mandate where Batman as a character just didn't reboot post-Crisis. Although they tweak some things. Like, when Frank Miller does Year One, they retroactively add the fact that Alfred was always there when he wasn't. Alfred's like a later introduction. Which is kind of weird because when he first shows up, he's like fat. And in that same issue, I don't remember how, but he comes back and he's like skinny, like this little twig. But I know, just very, very kind of weird. But I don't know. I've also kind of said this before. Like, Crisis is the beginning of like DC's major continuity issues. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. Question by Tevia. All right, shoot. I'm wondering, what's your opinion on Lazarus Planet? Well, actually, that brings me to the next comic that I read this week. Lazarus Planet, pretty cool. First and foremost, the big thing for me that I was enamored with was the art. I'm not a big art book guy because I'm broke. But dude, if I had the funds, I would definitely buy an art book by Riccardo Federici. In fact, if I had the money, I would just straight up like commission Riccardo Federici to do nothing but just draw DC superheroes in the rain, because this is like beautiful. Dude, Riccardo Federici is like quickly becoming my favorite DC artist. Like, when I think of, I said this before and I'll say it again. When I think of DC Comics, visually I think there's this term by Lars Ventura, or I guess it's a term that was coined to describe Lars Ventura's movies. And Lars Ventura is like the director of Nymphomaniac and other films like that. But his films have been described as fucking mythological. When I think of DC visually, DC is fucking mythological. Riccardo Federici, he gets it. He gets it. This is nothing short of mythological. Um, like just showing it to the camera, the camera doesn't do it any justice. This is something you just have to like buy and read and just gawk at for yourself. But oh man, dude, um, yeah, this might be my favorite DC artist working right now. Um, like just absolutely. God, I love the way he draws Cyborg. And I'm not personally a big fan of like Robot Man. Well, not Robot Man. Robot Man's actually built like shit. But I'm not a big fan of like post Iron Man Cyborg, where he's like just a glorified Iron Man suit with like half a human face. I don't like that, but he renders it so goddamn beautifully. Like Jesus Christ. God, like look at like this page right here is beautiful. It's the page where Batman is like trying to tell everyone to like shut up and listen to Robin. God, again, it doesn't show well on stream, but like the camera's just not doing it justice. You just gotta read it. But yeah, this book is a pretty good follow up to Batman versus Robin, and I'm liking what Mark Waid's been doing with that book, and I'm liking where this is potentially going. The big thing for me with Lazarus Planet that has me hooked already is that finally DC Comics is publishing an event that is not a crisis. Just I'm sold. Thank you. Like, my God. Finally, someone who I don't want to say finally someone who has like a sense of imagination, but like, you can do so much with these characters, and the fact that DC just keeps recycling Crisis is annoying, and I'm glad that this is not that. And I'm excited to see where this all goes. It is interesting that Power Girl's on the cover right here. Because I know that Philip Kennedy Johnson and Joshua Williamson have talked a lot about how they're trying to bring Power Girl back into the DC universe. So I assume this takes place after that's happened. But yeah, no, it's just really cool, like seeing all these characters kind of hang out and solve problems. Like, I don't know, it's cool. This is everything I like about DC in like one comic, and it's great, and I'm into it. However, this is an alpha, so like it's doing that weird thing that I kind of commended 1 Minute War for not doing. In that it's, guys, you don't need an alpha. Just do issue 1 of your event and just go from there. Like, you don't have to do this, but all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. But dude, God, dude, everything is so cool. Like Mary Marvel screaming Shazam. Dude, this comic is great. I absolutely had an amazing time reading this, and I'm excited for Lazarus Planet. And I wasn't for a while because I was just kind of like burned out on events, but I'm down. I'm sold. You got me. There's my money. Dude, my nose is like. Is this what it's like to do cocaine? Just like perpetually, like you're just, ugh. Oh man. Oh man. That's bad. That hurts. But All good, all good. Don't snort heroin, kids. And if you do, make sure you're listening to the soundtrack to Pulp Fiction. I'm sure like 5 people got that reference. Um, let's see. Supreme says, for me, I feel the victim blaming with Jason's death was used to prop up Tim to make Tim look better. Kind of problematic because Jason came from a poor, abusive background while Tim is rich. Do you agree? Well, I think in general, a lot of writers tend to put down characters in order to prop up new legacy characters who are taking their place. That's just something I don't. That's something I don't like, just in general. But it is fairly common through Marvel and DC comics. But I don't think it's. Look, I see the read that you have. I think the reasons for DC kind of like putting up Tim, or I guess putting down Jason to put Tim up, are far less intentionally malicious. It's just a situation of lacking a sense of self-awareness. But the reason why a lot of writers and artists and editors really like Tim Drake is because Tim Drake wants to be Robin. Jason, he became Robin because Bruce wanted to give him something. He wanted to give him a family. He wanted to give him a home and a calling in life. And Jason took it on because why not? I get to be Robin. That's cool. But with Tim, it's almost like Tim is the fanboy. And because of that, Tim is not an Eisen character, but he is an Eisen character. It's a term for it. Tim is a Mary Sue. Tim Drake is a textbook definition Mary Sue character. This is the kid who grew up admiring Batman and Robin, and now he gets to fill that Robin role, and writers use him as a vehicle to live out that fantasy. And that's why Tim gets put over so much, because a lot of writers are like kind of like writing themselves through Tim. Especially writers that love writing Batman. I don't think it really has anything to do with the financial situation of Tim and Jason respectively. I think a lot of it just comes down to the fact that Tim Drake is a Batman fanboy, and a lot of Batman writers are Batman fanboys. So that's why I think Tim is propped up. Yeah, you know, Gary Stu character. Well, Gary Stu, Mary Sue, they're the same thing. 616 man. Marvel and DC. We gotta change comics to be like multimedia, movies, TV, video games, animation, because corporate synergy equals new readers. Yeah. You know what, though? Working in a comic book store for, like, as long as I have, there are new readers all the time. That's the funny thing. Like, and really, the movies and TV shows have, like, a little to do with it. Because, you know, someone like, I like this movie, you know, I want to see more about this character. Like, that does happen, but, like, not nearly to the degree or the rate that I think Marvel and DC thinks it happens. Um, and even then, when you talk to these people, like, a lot of these people who are, like, just getting into comics or getting back into comics, the movies have, like, very little to do with it. Like, these are just people who I could totally see reading comics or getting into comics regardless of whether or not a major movie or TV show or video game came out based on those characters. These are people who would just read comics regardless. So, like, Marvel and DC don't really have to change these characters in the comics to reflect the movies because, one, a lot of these people, as soon as you say, well, the comics and movies are going to be a little different, that they're immediately like, oh, really? All right, bet, cool. And that's it. Like, there's no confusion, there's no nothing, it's just, hey, I like Spider-Man Homecoming. You got any comics like that? Not really. Spider-Man in the comics isn't really like Spider-Man Homecoming at all. But if you have some cool Spider-Man comics where he's a teenager, and it's like, oh, cool. I'll read those because I like the teenager aspect of the movie. And then, boom, boom, yeah. Or like, hey, I liked the Batman movie. That was really cool. Do you have any comics like the Batman? It's like, well, we have like Batman Zero Year. It's less grounded and realistic, but you know, it has the whole thing where Riddler floods the city and he's like the main villain. And they're like, oh, sweet, cool. And then they pick up Zero Year and they start reading Batman comics. Like, that's new readers, you know. And I really shouldn't do air quotes because that's not like a mock thing. Like, no, new readers who come into comics are pretty savvy. Like, if like, as long as you let them know, like, hey, the movie was a take on these characters, but the comics are actually a little different. As soon as you let them know that, they're down. And then they just kind of keep going with the hobby. Like, I don't know. Marvel and DC just need to, like, I think, give a lot of these newer readers and the general audience as a whole a little more credit. Because I think that's where that mentality comes from, you know. Oh, we got to change this to mirror the movie so people don't get confused. Look, of the percentage of people who watch the movie who are going to take the time out of their schedule to go to a comic book store and read a comic book, like buy a comic book and then read the damn thing, is like less than 10% maybe. And that, like, less than 10%, you know, they're smart enough to figure out that comics and movies are different. They are. So, I don't know. Give the people some credit. That's what I'm saying, Marvel and DC. Just give the people some credit. Because really all you're going to be doing is confusing them when they try to go back and catch up and read some of the older material that inform the material that they're starting with. And in that same stroke, you're also pissing off people who have been reading comics for a long time. So just, I don't know. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop the synergy thing. It's annoying. Nobody likes it. Question from Tevia. Do you believe John and Damien should be around the same age? Well, that's a weird question. Because Damien is a character who, like, kind of progressed like in real time, John from the get go is mired in like weird continuity shenanigans. Like, so like he's the son of Superman, but like a Superman from another dimension who then gets folded into the main dimension, but his history is still the same. Thinking about John Kent and his age, even before uh, Bendis comes on board and like does all the weird age up bullshit, is just a headache. It's just a pure headache. Uh, oh man. Um, but I don't know. I like Super Sons. You know. I ideally would like to see John Kent and Damian be the same age because they come from the same generation. But then again, you know who else comes from that same generation? Christopher Kent, who was originally supposed to be Damian Wayne's best friend, but never got to see that happen. And then everyone forgot about Christopher Kent after the New 52, so just but I guess Damian and John as a pairing is more popular, so yeah, whatever. But yeah, ideally Damian and John should be the same age. Supreme Omega. While War Games is still bad, I feel War Drums, the prelude had promise because Steph being Robin had potential. Besides Jason, she is the only other Robin that comes from an abusive poor background. Yeah, I can see that. Here's my thing with Stephanie Brown being Robin. I don't like the status quo because the very idea has been poisoned for me. When you take into consideration the fact that Bruce only brought her on board to make Tim jealous, like that puts a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't I don't like it. But I did like Stephanie as Nightwing in the Smallville universe. I know it's Barbara Gordon in the Smallville season 11 universe, but it was written by Brian Q. Miller, and she acts like Stephanie, and I think she was designed to be Stephanie. Should have been Stephanie, but whatever. She had a cool Nightwing costume though. She looked like banging. That was a great character design. God, I really wish we got to see more of Batman in Smallville. Because I like Smallville's take on Batman. Or I guess much rather Brian Q. Miller's take on Batman in the Smallville universe. Alfred was originally a private investigator. Yeah, he was. I can't find my Golden Age Batman omnibus, but I have it around here somewhere. But he's like this like porkly dude, and he like winds up being like super skinny by the end of the issue. I remember that vividly as from a kid. So, or not from a kid, like from when I was a kid. Uh, W says the artwork looks amazing. Oh, for Lazarus Planet Alpha. Yeah, this is really cool. I was really bummed out when I found out that Riccardo Federici wasn't going to be the mainstay artist on Action Comics, but you know what? After reading this, I'm fine with that. I'm, like, if you want to have Riccardo Federici draw a major DC Comics crossover event, bet. Like, all right, I'm not mad at that logic. I'm with it. I'm I very much see the vision, and I'm down. um, Personally, I'm more excited for the Flash 1 Minute War because that event is technically more connected to the Flash than Lazarus Planet. Um, well, I don't even think this is like an event really. This kind of just feels like a story in the Flash comic. Although let me see. I think there was a thing that like a thing in the back of this. Oh, it doesn't say. Okay, so it's gonna be like a twice monthly event. Oh, I don't want to show it because it's gonna show the last page spoiler. But yeah, it's a twice monthly event. And Flash 790, which is this is going to be kickoff, and Flash War Special is going to be like the continuation. I guess Flash 1 Minute War Special #1. So I'm confused. Is 1 Minute War going to be like an event in and of itself, independent of the main Flash title? Like, I don't quite understand how that's going to work. Or I guess I understand how it could work. It's just goes against how I thought it was going to work originally. But yeah, no, this was a great opening to this new storyline. And it was nice to catch up with Barry and Iris. After not really having seen them since the beginning of Jeremy Adams' run on the Flash. Or no, I guess I take that back, because Barry comes back in Dark Crisis. Although I didn't read Dark Crisis. I'm gonna be honest. I skimmed through the issues here and there. I saw that they gave Barry his classic belt design back. I thought that's pretty cool. I love Tim Drake Robin. He's really awesome. I like Tim Drake, but like he is a Gary Stu or a Mary Sue. John Paul Fay, LOL. Any opinion on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? I'm excited for that movie for Kang the Conqueror. Man, I wanna be, but I'm just not. Like I feel like the time to do Kang the Conqueror would have been like years ago. Like the first generation Avengers, like, that are Kang the Conqueror enemies in the comics are all like gone now. Like, I don't care, Um, this would kind of be like if Ultron showed up now, as opposed to when he showed up, like, uh, uh, back in like the 2015, MCU peak era. Um, yeah, no, I don't care. Which sucks because I think Jonathan Majors looks amazing as Kang. I mean, granted, most of it's CGI, but like I don't care. It looks cool. I love the suit. I love uh, the like quantum army he's kind of building. Looks kind of cool that he's hanging out with MODOK, but I don't. I'm at a point now with the MCU where just I don't care about the status quo moving forward. Um, they're gonna do like a new Avengers kind of thing, but like I was never a big new Avengers guy. I don't know. I just I don't know. I don't know. I wish I was more excited, but I'm just not. Um, but visually it looks pretty cool. I don't know why they changed Ant-Man's costume so much. Like I thought the costume from the first movie was pretty good. Um, but I guess they needed to fix it and make it look more cinematic. Um, but yeah, no, Kang the Conqueror looks cool in the movie. And I like Jonathan Majors' demeanor and the intensity that he has behind the role. It's just I watched that trailer and I was like, this looks really cool. Fuck, why do I not care? Damn. I don't know. But costume looks dope. I think it looks cool. That's all I got on that. What about Sony's Kraven the Hunter movie? Because I think it's gonna be a train wreck. You and me both. That movie does not look good. It doesn't sound good either. Like Kraven's gonna be like an animal lover or something. Like, world's most renowned hunter, poacher, is now an animal lover. I don't get where they're going with. I don't. Whatever. Somebody's gonna do whatever they're gonna do. Spider-Man over there. Have fun. Have fun. I don't get it, but whatever. Personally, I'm excited for Cassie Lang. Yeah, the actress looks fine as Cassie. I don't know why they recast her. Like, she looks like a different chick from the girl who was in Infinity War. Or was it Endgame? I get those movies mixed up. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. All the stuff with like comic book movies. I mean, we're mainly gonna focus on DC films, but I'm sure the conversation is gonna eventually fall into the realm of like MCU territory. On Friday, we're gonna talk about all this on Friday on Previous World Roundtable. So I'll save some of my thoughts on some of the comic movie stuff for then, but for right now, just I'm so checked out of comic book movie stuff, like, and it again, this is me echoing Troy, but he's echoing exactly how I feel. I was really into comic book movies back when I felt the comics were lacking. Which really was that like 2015, 2016, 2017 era, um, when we started to see like all the anti-SJW like crap in like the the reactionary like rage bait channels, and then people kind of reacting to the reactionary rage bait channels. Like, for me, that's when comics were at their lowest of lows in recent years. And that's also like the peak of the comic book movie craze. I think a big reason as to why I was so invested in comic book movies during that era was just because the comic books weren't really all that interesting to me. But now that the comics are good again, now that damn near everything at Marvel and damn near everything at DC is really good. I really don't give a fuck about these movies. Like, it's hitting me that like I didn't love these movies. I loved the idea of enjoying the stories about these characters that I like. That's what I really liked. But now that the comics are kind of like, shooting back up in quality, the movies are just like over there again. It's just like, I don't give a shit about that. Anyways, what's Sam Wilson doing over here? It's Captain America. Sweet. That's just how I feel about comics and comic book movies though right now. So, W says, so are you burned out? I wouldn't say burned out. It's just I'm like getting what I want now from the actual source, that's really the thing for me. Personally, I think 2016 and 2017 was the best year for DC Comics, especially with Rebirth. I have weird feelings on Rebirth, and I talked about this a little bit last week. A lot of the like Watchmen tie-in stuff kind of poisoned the well for me a little bit. Like I wasn't a fan of the Dr. Manhattan teases. Also, some of the Rebirth initiatives felt hollow to me. Like it felt like, hey, do you remember early 2000s DC Comics? We're just gonna do that, even though we're still gonna be stuck in like the New 52 continuity and timeline. But remember that thing you liked from 20 years ago? We're just gonna do that, kind of, not really, a discount version of that, because we can't actually do the thing from 20 years ago, but we're gonna like contort the New 52 to be that. And it's like, all right, there was a falseness to it that kind of it gave a faint whiff of bullshit, if you will, if I may. So yeah, I don't know. Rebirth kind of to me, but there were definitely some Rebirth books that were like highlights. Like I loved Green Arrow Rebirth. Deathstroke Rebirth by Christopher Priest was amazing. Nightwing Rebirth was pretty good. I'm in the minority that really enjoys Batman Rebirth. I think everything up until the Nightmares arc is pretty good. Superman Rebirth and Action Comics Rebirth were pretty good too, but those books suffered the hardest from what I was describing earlier, where it was that like, hey, there's this thing from like 2002 that you liked. We're going to contort the new 52 to be like that thing from 2002. It's like, very weird and kind of off-putting to me. Very uncanny valley. But yeah, I don't know. There were some rebirth titles out there that were pretty good. That were like divorced from like all that continuity shifty mess. Detective Comics by James Tynion the Fourth is also another one I enjoyed. All new, all different Marvel. Yeah, and that's another big thing for me in that era, and why I guess I was really into what the MCU was doing, because just what, dude, I look back on the past couple years with Marvel and DC, but really Marvel, like, what the fuck? What were you thinking? Just what were you thinking? And the answer, I'm sure, is we weren't thinking. But just, dude, all the weird stuff with like the X-Men, where like Bendis did the like time traveling X-Men. Like what? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And then like all the weird like, let's replace all of our main heroes with legacy characters, which I know for a fact, because I've spoken with some of these creators at cons. I know for a fact that this was not like a coordinated effort on Marvel's like editorial plans. It was all just a happy accident. And dude, it sucks because like a lot of these status quos aren't inherently bad. It's just they felt like rushed, half-baked ideas, and it didn't help that everyone was doing them at the same time, and then they were marketed very poorly, because you had the pushback against these new characters, and then the pushback to that pushback was, well, you're racist, you're a Nazi, you hate women. It's just not the way to handle that. So just, I don't know. The past couple years for Marvel Comics, looking back, is like, what the oh my god. Just everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. And thank God the MCU exists so that Marvel can stay afloat, because holy shit, that was bad. Oh, that was all bad. Jesus Christ. But Marvel Comics is better now. And I get to finally pay attention to Marvel Comics and not, you know, the movies, which are fine, but just they're just discount versions of the comics I like, so just whatever. On 90s Robin, I'm mixed on the Tim Steph romance, because I feel like there are times where Steph is written to be less competent to prop up Tim, even though in Cass's solo, Steph defeated one of Lady Shiva's men. Well, that's the thing with Stephanie. She definitely has main character energy, except for when she doesn't. Here's the thing with Stephanie. And granted, I haven't read a lot of comics with her, but from what I understand, she's not trained by Batman. She's just another she's a scrappy vigilante who just wants to, you know, do the thing. And like atone for like the bullshit that her dad does. Because her dad's the Clue Master. So, you know, but yeah, like I don't know, like Steph shouldn't be nearly as competent as any of the Robins or any of the Batgirls. Well, no, I take that back. I think at best she should be as competent as Barbara Gordon Batgirl, um, who was another character who wasn't really trained by Batman, not really in that Bat family, like, immediate circle. Um, so yeah, I don't mind her being not as competent as Tim, because Tim is directly trained by like Batman, and then later by Lady Shiva. So like, yeah. Um, in fact, I think it's kind of weird that Steph was able to take out one of Lady Shiva's men, but that's just me. Um, Tevi says, Amazing Spider-Man is a complete train wreck right now, in my opinion. Well, you are on the polar opposite end of the spectrum to what I heard earlier today, which was that Amazing Spider-Man is the best it's been in a long time. So, I don't know. That contradiction, just in like attitude in the way you guys are describing it, makes me interested in seeing what's going on. My buddy Troy, because we had a long conversation earlier today, but he said he's really enjoying Amazing Spider-Man, and something that he said really, it hit me, and it's been a problem that I've had with Spider-Man in comics for the longest time, really since Dan Slott started writing Amazing Spider-Man. It's the Billy Batsonification of Peter Parker, where Peter is no longer kind of an asshole, which was like part of the appeal of the character, honestly. Like, I feel like ever since the Sam Raimi movie came out, Peter Parker's kind of been this like cross between Billy Batson and Clark Kent, and that characterization's like seeped its way to the comics since Dan Slott came onto the book, but like significantly more comedic due to just Dan Slott's comedic sensibilities, and I don't know, that's just not, it's not the character of Peter Parker. That's not who that character is. Peter is kind of a New York asshole. He's kind of is. And yeah, no, I missed that characterization of him, and my buddy Troy was saying that Zeb Wells brings that back to the character of Peter Parker, and for that, I'm at least curious to see how that's playing out. Tevi says Superman Rebirth and Action Comics Rebirth were freaking amazing. Yeah, they were pretty fun. It's just they were still just mired in like weird continuity BS. Tevi says also Spider-Man Peter Parker was still a train wreck in the all different Marvel, which failed. Where Peter was Mark Zuckerberg, basically. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that material either. Supreme Omega says on Pre-New 52 Robin, also on the Tim Steph romance, there's an unequal power dynamic because Tim is rich, like really rich, while Steph is poor and grew up in an abusive with an abusive dad. There is a sense of classism. A little bit. Like, Tim is kind of like a snotty, like, rich kid, definitely, but I don't think that, like, necessarily affects, like, a power dynamic I don't know. Here's like the thing though, like if they were adults, that's one thing, but they're not. They're kids. They're kids, and kids just tend not to think about these kinds of things. And I guess from that perspective being from the characters themselves, it's not a big deal. It's just not. W says, personally, I like Barbara Gordon as Oracle way more than Batgirl. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like Barbara as Batgirl. It's just, I like Cassandra and Steph, honestly, because I've gone back and read some of that material. I like them better. I like them better. Barbara's good as like a Silver Age and Bronze Age Batgirl. So like she's good as the Batgirl who once was, but I don't know. I'm not interested in seeing Barbara Gordon prance around as Batgirl like now. Like that's not what makes her character interesting. Tavy says I hate the Dark Web event so bad. Ugh. Let's my coworker is really liking it right now. Jack Genocide, he's actually been on the channel before. He was really kind of like selling me on it. By talking about how like Spider-Man's in limbo right now. And how it's tying in like some of the weird stuff with Madeline Pryor being the queen of limbo, and she's like the Goblin Queen. I don't know. The way he pitched it, it sounded interesting. So I'm gonna give it a shot. Supreme Omega says, on Tynion's Detective comics, another criticism is that I don't feel like a Tim Drake fan should write Tim, because Tynion turned Tim into the perfect super genius, and Dixon didn't write Tim that way in the 90s. True, but to be fair, that's not exclusively a Tynion problem, because you saw that for Tim throughout the 2000s, post-Crisis, during that 1 year later era, where Tim has vats of like genetic material that is potentially going to become the new Superboy, despite the fact that just because you clone Superboy doesn't mean you're going to get the Superboy that you were friends with. So just I don't know. But yeah, no. I think they cover that ground in a lot of the 1 year later material. But you know, there's definitely a whole thing where Tim goes from being a really smart kid to being like Reed Richards. And it's very weird. It's kind of that like comic book shorthand of intelligence where characters are written as, okay, you're smart and you're good at math. Like your whole thing is that you can calculate things in your head. You know what this means? You're a super genius who can hack like alien technology. Yeah, that's what that means. And it's like, well, not really. It's kind of the same problem that like scientists have in like the Marvel and DC universe, where like Reed Richards, for example, is a physicist. You know, like that's like his whole thing. Reed Richards is an astrophysicist, but because he's smart and because he does the science, he's also a biologist. He's also a nuclear physicist. He's also a quantum engineer. Like he just okay, guys. Just because this guy is good at one thing and studied for one thing doesn't mean he's an expert in every field of science. Like that, I don't know. But that's just it's a problem in comics in general. You get labeled one thing and then everyone thinks that you can do everything. Um, and Tim Drake definitely suffered from that. But all right, so I got one last comic this week, and it is a comic I actually already got, like when it came out like a year and a half ago, but I don't know. Still wanted to pick it up because it'll look good on my bookshelf. And that is Superman and the Authority by Mikel Janin and one Grant Morrison. I had a lot of fun with this comic when it came out. Although I've seen a lot of people talk about how much they dislike it. But I don't know. I had fun reading this. This is really fun. Like I read this on my way home from work. This is great. I love how Grant Morrison kind of like ties everything kind of back to the Ultra Humanite, who's like Superman's first real supervillain. I thought that was really clever how he did that. I also like how there's an ode to Brainiac being Superman's arch nemesis throughout the Silver Age. I also like Brainiac's motivation in this, which I don't want to like spoil because if you haven't read this, you probably should check it out. It's really cool. In fact, I guess I just spoiled the book and mentioning that Brainiac is in it regardless. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun reading this. This is really good. Also love the art in here, like the concept art for what Superman's costume would have looked like is really cool. I'm definitely partial to the black and silver look. I think Superman looks great in black and silver, especially for an older veteran Superman. I think it looks great. But I do like this sort of like workout costume that Clark is wearing throughout the book that you see on the cover here. I think that's pretty cool. And plus this is like a really good intro into the War World saga. Not that you need it necessarily, but it's still a fun book to read nonetheless. And I like what Grant Morrison does with Manchester Black here. He's really he's like such a joy. He's a great, like, not even villain anymore. He's just this thorn in Superman's side. I mean, it kind of sucks that he's dead right now, but like, he's gonna come back. That's the thing about Manchester Black. Like, he died at the end of Superman ending battle, and then he like magically comes back, and I don't remember how he came back, but he like came back just before New 52 started. Like he survived killing himself with like a telekinetic like meh. I don't know what meh is called, so I'm just gonna say meh. But he survived that. He survived his consciousness being put into a cow, which that's from Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason in Superman Rebirth. And then he just kind of comes back. No explanation. Just, he's back. So, I'm sure Manchester Black's going to come back at some point in the future, but how, I don't know, but he will. Yeah, those are all the comics I read this week. Not that big of a haul. Again, I'm trying to be a little more conservative with my spending before Katsucon, because I haven't finished putting my whole costume together yet. I'm gonna probably show up in the next stream wearing most of my costume, I mean, it's not done yet, but like the the major stuff is taken care of. Right now, I just have to like make a collar for the red shirt that I got for Robin. Um, and I have to add the little 3 gold strips on the chest line. Um, but yeah, after that, like once I get the boots and the cape, I'm done. I'm done, and I'll definitely show you guys what the costume looks like. Oh, I still need the mask. But yeah, after that, I'm definitely gonna show you guys what I look like. The Wednesday before Katsucon, because I should have everything put together by that point. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that before I go to the con, so you guys like know what I look like. But yeah, Supreme Omega says also on the Reborn Incorporated era, that was my favorite era for Bruce. I like that Bruce became the Jay Garrick Commander, or the Jay Garrick Commander Rogers of the Bat family, much more chill and laid back. Yeah, I do too. I like that idea a lot for Batman. I wish that status quo stuck around more. But comics. I'm sure he'll go back to that at some point. But yeah, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Glad that I could talk some comics with y'all. Glad that my girlfriend got to chime in and really kind of like pitch me Joker, the Man Who Stops Laughing, because I only read like a little bit of it. It didn't really like pique my interest, but Carmen DGN Domenico's art was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. She seemed to really enjoy it, so I'll definitely give it more of a shot. When I go back to work tomorrow. But yeah, hey, thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, I will see y'all next week. If you haven't hit that like button, definitely hit it before you go, and I'll see you guys with a new video hopefully tomorrow. My latest video is directly answering a question that 616 Man asked in my Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay stream, which I did this past week. Which, by the way, you know, I'm gonna do a post later at some point, but let me know what more games you want to see me play on the channel. I'll definitely play them. Like, I have all of these games here. I might as well stream myself playing them. Yeah, no, the 616 Man asked a really interesting question about like continuity. So the video that I'm working on like right now is directly addressing that question. It's like a short video, but I think I answered the question pretty sufficiently, or at least I hope I did. But all right, yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you next week. Adios, nachos. Adios.